Giuseppe Domenico Scarlatti was an Italian composer who spent much of his life in the service of the Portuguese and Spanish royal families. He is classified primarily as a Baroque composer chronologically, although his music was influential in the development of the classical style, and he was one of the few Baroque composers to transition into the classical period. Like his renowned father Alessandro Scarlatti, he composed in a variety of musical forms, although today he is known mainly for his 555 keyboard sonatas. Life and career. Domenico Scarlatti was born in Naples, Kingdom of Naples, in 1685, the same year as Johann Sebastian Bach and George Friedrich Handel. He was the sixth of 10 children of the composer and teacher Alessandro Scarlatti. Domenico's older brother Pietro Filippo was also a musician. He probably first studied music under his father. Other composers who may have been his early teachers include Gaetano Greco, Francesco Gasparini, and Bernardo Pasquini, all of whom may have influenced his musical style. He was appointed as composer and organist at the Royal Chapel in Naples in 1701. In 1704, he revised Carlo Francesco Pollariola's opera Irene for performance at Naples. Soon afterwards, his father sent him to Venice. After this, nothing is known of Scarlatti's life until 1709, when he went to Rome in the service of the exiled Polish Queen Marie Casimir. He met Thomas Rosengrave there. Scarlatti was already an eminent harpsichordist. There is a story of a trial of skill with George Friedrich Handel at the palace of Cardinal Ottoboni in Rome, where he was judged possibly superior to Handel on that instrument, although inferior on the organ. Later in life, he was known to cross himself in veneration when speaking of Handel's skill. In Rome, Scarlatti composed several operas for Queen Casimir's private theatre. He was maestro di cappella at St. Peter's from 1715 to 1719. In 1719 he travelled to London to direct his opera Narciso at the King's Theatre. According to Vicente Bicci, Domenico Scarlatti arrived in Lisbon on the 29th of November 1719. There he taught music to the Portuguese Princess Maria Magdalena Barbara. He left Lisbon on the 28th of January 1727 for Rome, where he married Maria Caterina Gentili on the 6th of May 1728. In 1729 he moved to Seville, staying for 4 years. In 1733 he went to Madrid as music master to Princess Maria Barbara, who had married into the Spanish royal house. The princess later became Queen of Spain. Scarlatti remained in the country for the remaining 25 years of his life, and had 5 children there. After the death of his first wife in 1742, he married a Spaniard, Anastasia Maxartes. Among his compositions during his time in Madrid were a number of the 555 keyboard sonatas for which he is best known. Scarlatti befriended the castrato singer Farinelli, a fellow Neapolitan also enjoying royal patronage in Madrid. The musicologist and harpsichordist Ralph Kirkpatrick commented that Farinelli's correspondence provides most of the direct information about Scarlatti that has transmitted itself to our day. Domenico Scarlatti died in Madrid at the age of 71. His residence on Cal Leganitos is designated with the historical plaque, and his descendants still live in Madrid. He was buried at a convent there in Madrid, but his grave no longer exists. Music. Only a small fraction of Scarlatti's compositions were published during his lifetime. Scarlatti himself seems to have overseen the publication in 1738 of the most famous collection, his 30 Essays, These were well received throughout Europe, and were championed by the foremost English writer on music of the 18th century, Charles Burney. The many sonatas which were unpublished during Scarlatti's lifetime have appeared in print irregularly in the 2.5 centuries since. Scarlatti has attracted notable admirers, including Beethoven, Bartók, Arturo Benedetti, Michelangelo, Johannes Brahms, Frédéric Chopin, Émile Gilels, Enrique Granados, Marc-André Hamelin, Vladimir Horowitz, Ivo Pogorelic, Heinrich Schenker, and Dmitri Shostakovich. Scarlatti's 555 keyboard sonatas are single movements, mostly in binary form, and some in early sonata form, and mostly written for the harpsichord of the earliest pianofortes. Some of them display harmonic audacity in the use of discords, and also unconventional modulations to remote keys. Other distinctive attributes of Scarlatti's style are the following: the influence of Iberian folk music. An example is Scarlatti's use of the Phrygian mode and other tonal inflections more or less alien to European art music. Many of Scarlatti's figurations and dissonances are suggestive of the guitar, a formal device in which each half of a sonata leads to a pivotal point, which the Scarlatti scholar Ralph Kirkpatrick termed the crux, and which is sometimes underlined by a pausa fermata. Before the crux, Scarlatti sonatas often contain their main thematic variety, and after the crux the music makes more use of repetitive figurations as it modulates away from the home key back to the home key. In his sonatas, the key-touching style of the eighth note still needs to follow the traditional Baroque custom, as other Baroque composers half-jumping, broken, but time-keeping with the cultural etiquettes rather than classical sonatas. The purpose is to simulate the vocal mechanism of organ and harpsichord in his time. Meanwhile, this key-touching style was also made according to his background of choral service. Ralph Kirkpatrick produced an edition of the sonatas in 1953, and the numbering from this edition is now nearly always used, the KK, or K, number. Previously, the numbering commonly used was from the 1906 edition compiled by the Neapolitan pianist Alessandro Longo. Kirkpatrick's numbering is chronological, while Longo's ordering is a result of his grouping the sonatas into suites. In 1967, the Italian musicologist Giorgio Pestelli published a revised catalogue, which corrected what he considered to be some anachronisms. Aside from his many sonatas, Scarlatti composed a number of operas and cantatas, symphonias, and liturgical pieces. Well-known works include the Stabat Mater of 1715 and the Salve Regina of 1757, which is thought to be his last composition.